Hey everybody, I wanted to take a look at the differences between the Vita version and the PS4 version of Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment. That's mainly due to the fact that RE Hollow Fragment, the PS4 version, it's pretty much the version of the game that was supposed to be like in the States. It's mainly because the Western version on the Vita was just terrible as far as translation. It made it very hard to play. A lot of the time I actually had to learn like a lot of the combat myself, and like a lot of like you can get general ideas from the text and stuff, but nothing like sticks out. It's hard to tell. I mean, hard to explain, but if you play the Vita version, you will know what I'm talking about. Throughout the video, I'm going to be talking about not really spoiler stuff, I guess. I mean, some people might consider it spoilers, I guess, but I'm gonna figure that you've already played the Vita version and you've already at least watched some of the show at least. So I'm not gonna like cover the story of the game itself. I'm not gonna cover the I guess specific details of the story and stuff like that. Like all that is gonna be kind of left out because this isn't really a review. This is a comparison type of thing. So if you played the Vita version, at least like somewhat you know what the general idea of the story is and whatever. Alright, going off of that, I got a bunch of notes down from like the differences and stuff like that between the games. Now I have like 60 hours on my Vita save, and I had like around 4 hours on the PS4, and then I decided to delete that version of the that save and then transfer it over from my Vita to see how that worked as well. And it worked in a way. It was kind of wonky. It was not like 100% cross save, I guess you could say. It was kind of like, okay, I transferred my save, alright, and that kept my inventory, my level, all my skills, all the stuff pertaining to my character and such. It kept the levels of other characters that I've played with in the game. So like I think Sinon was like 112, even though she didn't have a bow or like have interest in like training and stuff like that. Like that part of the story was not gotten to at all in this at the point of the game after transferring the game. So like if you were not aware, Sinon actually wants to train after a certain point in the game, and then if you start training with her and stuff like that, helping her train, she will start to level up a bit, and then she will get eventually a bow after doing this special quest or something like that. And I don't remember specifically. And then she levels up to around 110, I think. Around, maybe I don't remember. But she was 112 when I last had her in the game on my Vita save, and now she's 112 with just the dagger, no bow. So it's a bit weird, but it works. It works. The translation was, it blew me away. Like I played the game nonetheless, even though the translation was really bad and very confusing. Like you can get very confused in the story, very confused in the areas that you go to and such. But the PS4 version, once you play that, once I played that at least, I realized how bad the translations were in the Vita version. Because you never like I remember like when I was just starting on in my PS4 save, like the first save, whenever I was going back and looking at stuff I've already seen, I remember that stuff happening, but I don't remember anything particular that happened exactly. Like it was just, again, the general idea of everything. That was the entire translation summed up. It's just the general idea. That's it. I mean, I don't know where else to put it. I mean, I actually prefer the game on the Vita, like as far as like features, and I mean there's a couple things of course the PS4 version does a lot better, because it is, again, they looked at the game again and decided to, hey, this is how it should have been, let's throw it like that. Like the multiplayer itself is it's like one of the big selling points for this version of the game, PS4 version, is it's online multiplayer. It's not going to be ad hoc at all. It's not, ad hoc is local multiplayer, so that's not there at all. It's all online, so you can just party up with friends and whatever over the internet and whatever. Same as like most games, I guess. that should have been what it was since the beginning, but apparently that was a decision made by Bandai Namco or something that is like, nah, we're gonna make it ad hoc only, I guess. I'm glad they switched that around and actually made it online this time around. I still have to get like really into the multiplayer gameplay and whatever. I haven't really experienced much lag from what I played, but I haven't played it that much. Again, I'm just gonna base this off of like a couple experiences. The way the multiplayer works in this game, I don't know if it works similarly with the Vita version, because I've never actually had an experience through ad hoc as of lately. And the PS4 version, at least online, has like a Monster Hunter style lobby system, and for most people, I'm sure that would bring it across all the general idea of how it works. But for those who don't know, it's pretty much like you join a lobby, and then there's like it's where everybody joins up. It's where everybody starts off. You can access vendors in the room, and then you can trade with people in the room. Some chat in the room, and some, you know, you can use emotes and whatever. It's like kind of a social area of the entire multiplayer aspect of the game for players to congregate and whatever. But the only downside I can say to that is preset messages are very slim. Like, okay, they do the job, I guess, but there's not enough options to the point where I can specifically talk about something or specifically ask about something, you know. That's why I kind of like Freedom Wars, just because you can actually, like, there's the preset messages for stuff like, just in case like you're in the middle of combat or something and you want to just say something out of nowhere. But if you need to, you can actually type out specific messages in the chat box. There's no limit to that. I can see why there'd be preset messages in this game, only because it's rated T. But hold on. Wasn't Freedom Wars rated T? Yeah, Freedom Wars is rated T as well. So I don't get why chat boxes weren't in Hollow Fragment, because Hollow Fragment's rated T. Anyway, I guess that's the downside to the multiplayer if you're trying to get with random people. So because of that, I would highly recommend you play this with other people that you know, friends, you know, whatever, that also happen to own the game. I think it'd be a lot more of a fun experience to have over voice chat and stuff. So, because there's no voice chat in the multiplayer. Understandable. It's not designed to have voice chat. The combat. Okay, this is the beef of the changes here. Is the combat in the Vita version is very unique. I mean, both the games are very unique, I guess, in the combat sense. But if you play the Vita version, you're gonna know specifically what I mean with these different changes and such. First off, I think my first note here is sword skills now have cooldowns. Most sword skills don't use SP, and that's a note that's very important, because in the Vita version, at least in the Vita version, you can pretty much spam attacks pretty constantly. I mean, you can chain a lot of attacks together, and that was kind of like how most people played the game, I believe. At least that's how I played it. Because most attacks used 100 to 150 SP. You use that SP up, and then parry an attack, get some SP back, and use some more attacks with that SP. And then you just grind that back up again. That was kind of the rinse and repeat, at least from my end. And I think most buffs and debuffs did not use SP, but there was some of them that did, so it's not like completely not the case, I guess. As far as controls go, for combat, at least, I mean, I guess controls and combat are kind of the same thing. Switching, like, you know, who's the main role, I guess, is what you want to call it. That's mapped to down on the D-pad on the PS4 controller. And the good button, it's the only way I can really call it, it's mapped to up. So that's the quick way of doing that. They have not removed the two little, like, the bottom left and bottom right corner buttons for the two things, which is a bit weird. The map button, there's a shortcut to the right side of the touchpad, which on the Vita you can actually just tap the mini-map on the top right of the screen to get that same map, but on this it's right side of the touchpad. And then sub-menu, which before you have to press square to actually open up, it's left on the touchpad now. The basics of combat is still the same, so you can still chain attacks and whatever, but it's not going to be as intense as you could as before. This effectively makes the combat slightly harder because you can't pretty much bring as much damage output as you could before. That limits the capabilities of actually getting damage out, which I guess to some people would say that's a negative thing, but it's not necessarily a negative thing because sometimes the game did feel easy once you get the hang of it. As far as the Vita version goes, PS4 version, yeah, it feels at the right difficulty because things are actually difficult at the beginning of the game. I also believe there's more skills available to get in the game. I don't know if that's actually confirmed, but at least starting off fresh, I had a lot more skills than before. One of the big bonuses of the PS4 version as well is because of the translation, there's a lot of there's a lot of better explanations for everything. Like, before, I had no idea what the burst system was. I didn't know how that worked at all, like on the Vita version. I didn't know what the burst gauge was for. I didn't know what, it was, the risk stuff was for and whatever. I had no idea. I had no clue. But, it gave me a lot better of an idea with this, starting off fresh on this game, because it actually explains things a lot more clearly. I know it explained it a bit in the previous game, because it's all the same explanations, just translate a lot better. So, that's really good. There's a couple notes I wanted to also say is, the PS Vita version is actually kind of more original to the original version of the game, I guess you could call it. Like the version that's in Japan right now. Circle is, if you do not know, circle is the default kind of yes for the PlayStation controller. That's what it was designed to be, but for Western countries it was switched to X. So on the Vita version you could actually, circle was the main yes button, the confirm button or whatever you want to call it. With the PS4 version it's not circle to be confirmed. It's mainly X, but to get into like menus, like to use like the teleporter and like talk to NPCs and stuff, that's still circle. So it's still kind of a mishmash of that. I wish they kind of did a better job at transferring everything over to X, or they just kept everything on circle, because that actually would make much more sense. I'm much more used to that for this game than the other way. So, but whenever you're in menus and stuff, pressing X is the confirm and stuff like that, like it should have been if you're not used to it, I guess. That's kind of a negative point, but it's not that big of a point. Now, I didn't really go full in depth in the hollow area on my Vita save. I mean, I did some exploration and stuff like that, but I've gotten stuck on quite a few occasions over there. So I don't know, I can't really confirm myself from personal experience if there's more bosses in the hollow area or not. I'm going to try to do more hollow area on my PS4 save than actual floors and whatever. Maybe later on I could just put in the description or something like that if it actually is or not, but don't take my word for it. Try to see if anybody else knows that. Visually, the game looks a lot better, like a lot more clean. Like the Vita version it's still kind of choppy and stuff like that, because take this into perspective. The original release of the game, which was Infinity Moment on the PSP, so an engine designed to run on a PSP is running on the Vita, which the engine itself cannot handle that many NPCs at one instance. So, which was understandable on the PSP, but on the Vita, it still reduced the frame rate whenever you were in like town areas and whatever, mainly because of how many NPCs there were. But on the PS4 version, that's still there. It's still the original engine and everything that was on the PSP. So you're pretty much running a PSP game on the Vita. No, PSP game on the PS4, and effectively just it's still, do not expect that frame rate to go away if you played the Vita version, because it still pops up. It runs a lot better, I can say that. I can confirm that, is it runs a lot better on the PS4 than the Vita. And that's because it's a PS4, it's a big difference, but it mainly runs around 60 frames. There's a lot of times where it does dip a little bit, mainly in the town. That goes around 20, I believe, and it's not going to kill your experience at all. It's only for one area in the game. I mean, it's an area that you go to quite a bit, but it's not like the entire game was super laggy. No, it's not because a lot of people are actually dissing the game for having that frame rate issue. I don't get it. I don't get why. Whatever. In my opinion, that's not going to kill your experience of the game at all. Customization's expanded, not to the point where, like, you don't expect to have, like, a new, like, completely blown up, it's like, customization, I guess. It'll do the job, because it's mainly for multiplayer. You know, you're still going to be playing as Kirito in the story. People are still going to call you Kirito. People are still going to look at you as Kirito. So, I mean, that's not going to change. Whenever you're multiplayer, it's hard to tell the difference. If there was like 4 Kiritos in one lobby, it'd be kind of hard to tell. That's what it's mainly for. That's its general purpose, is just to kind of take you away from everybody else's book as well. And it does that job pretty well. It's still not like blowing me away as far as customization, but that pretty much goes about it. I mean, everything. I mean, there's not much else to talk about as far as differences go. So, if I want that information, I will be playing this game. If I have any more opinions to share about it, I will just throw it up here, or Twitter, or whatever. I'll see you guys next time.